Today, May 14th, 2009, a legacy continues that is 125 years in the making. It was on a hot and dusty Thursday in the July of 1885 that 31 young men gathered in Lampasas Springs with the intention of discussing what they called the Big Idea. At that meeting, they created the first state association of its kind, the Texas Bankers Association. And that meeting would later come to be known as the first convention of TBA. How could they have imagined, as they rattled towards what is now Lampasas in those hot and dusty train cars, that hundreds upon hundreds of bankers from across Texas would follow in their footsteps in the 125 years that followed? Of the 22 Texas towns and cities they came from, most had dirt roads, one church, one general store, and lots of wide Texas sky. It had been less than 50 years since the cries to remember the Alamo had led the Texans to independence against Mexico. It had been only 40 years since Texas joined the United States of America as the 28th state. In fact, at the time of the convention, there were only 38 states in the Union. It had been only 20 years since the Lincoln assassination, and only 20 years since the end of the Civil War. A handful of the more seasoned bankers, in fact, including the colorful Colonel Henry Exall, who led the meeting, were Civil War veterans. That year, Mark Twain's famous novel, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, was published. The Statue of Liberty arrived in New York on board a French ship and began to be pieced together. The very first motion picture film was made. It lasted less than 2 seconds. Other major breakthroughs that year included the first anti-rabies vaccine and the first successful appendectomy. Famous baseball players, which are now paid north of $2 million a season, were paid between $1,000 and $2,000 a year. A lot has changed in 125 years. But how could those 31 men have known? How could they have known of the coming wars, the Great Depression, the changing world? What would they have thought of computers, highways, cell phones? There is no telling. But, as Kurt Vonnegut has said, history is merely a list of surprises. It can only prepare us to be surprised yet again. Would they have been surprised to know that only one convention was canceled due to the war that tore the world apart? Would they have been amazed by the words of the presidents, the governors, and the astronauts who spoke at conventions? Would they have laughed with us at the convention when a chairman fell off the stage and then jumped back up quicker than he went down? And would they have been surprised that their big idea has not only survived the test of time, but continues to thrive as the oldest and largest of its kind? How could those 31 men have foreseen the roads that they would walk down? All those roads have led to this moment. All those roads have led you to San Antonio. All those roads have led to this day, a Thursday in May, and the first day of the rest of history. You are a continuation of 125 years of tradition. You are a part of the legacy. Welcome to the 125th Annual Convention of the Texas Bankers Association.